There are certain phrases a woman might utter that do more than merely wound, they illuminate truths you may have overlooked. At times, she speaks without elevating her tone, without contention, without apparent ire. She delivers a single statement. One that reveals her essence and underscores why you must disengage to preserve your equilibrium. Most men encounter these words and rationalize, perhaps she spoke in haste. Or, I might be overanalyzing. No, my friend. You are not overanalyzing, you are evading an evident reality. Today, I will dissect 5 statements a woman may offer that are profoundly insidious, so telling, that upon hearing them, you should gracefully withdraw and depart. No debates, no remedies, no intensified efforts. Let us begin. 1. I am simply not prepared for a committed relationship, yet I desire your presence. What renders this declaration perilous? It appears gentle, candid, almost vulnerable. But upon reflection, its implications unsettle profoundly. For when a woman asserts she is unready for seriousness but still seeks your proximity, she is not ambivalent. She comprehends her intentions precisely. Many men interpret this as, she merely requires patience. Incorrect. Patience is invoked when one seeks advantages sans reciprocity. She will reach out in moments of solitude. She will crave your focus during periods of ennui. She will accept your generosity, counsel, solace, but withhold the genuine bond you seek. This is where men erode their sense of self. You convince yourself, with endurance, she will select me. Yet the unvarnished reality is this: if she desired you, she would have chosen already. Women do not defer the man they truly want. They only prolong uncertainty for the one they do not. She appreciates your devotion. She values your reliability regardless. She relishes commitment-free access to your care as if it were pledged. It is akin to her propping the door ajar sufficiently to hold you in place, but not to grant entry. That brief utterance signals she craves the emotional perks of partnership without assuming the role. She receives investment absent exertion. She gains intimacy sans obligation. She secures fidelity without offering it in return. Over time, this dynamic depletes you. You will find yourself increasingly anxious, ruminating, striving, validating your value, anticipating her pivot to commitment. But she will not, for she lacks incentive. You have already provided all she requires: attentiveness, steadfastness, emotional security sans demands. Should you persist, you will witness her elect another, someone unfamiliar. Someone who invested no prolonged wait, for she desired him in a manner she never did you. Thus, when she voices this, do not barter your dignity. Do not demonstrate your merit for depth. Do not cling to fragments out of fear of absence. You forfeit nothing of substance. You safeguard against a gradual emotional erosion demanding months or years to mend. Withdraw. Not due to her flaws, but because your affections merit one who embraces you presently, not prospectively. 2. A true man ought to intuit without explicit guidance. This assertion strikes at a peculiar vulnerability. It evokes inadequacy, insufficiency. Yet clarify, this is not about dialogue. It is dominance veiled in elegance. When she insists a genuine man should simply discern, she imposes an intangible burden, lacking parameters, cues, orientation. You are expected to mystically grasp her desires, dispositions, anticipations, even amid her silence. That is not affection. That is psychological contortion. Consider, mature women articulate. They convey to foster relational advancement. They seek comprehension, not enigmas. A woman who withholds her wants yet demands flawlessness does not desire an equal. She seeks a scapegoat for future lapses. For contemplate, if she articulated needs and you addressed them, she forfeits leverage. But vagueness permits perpetual critique. You ought to have realized. You ought to have perceived. You ought to have excelled. It evolves into a loop where she judges perpetually, and you strive eternally to align. Worse still, men in such binds erode assurance. You navigate tentatively, scrutinizing actions, dissecting signals, inferring sentiments. Even successes prompt elevated standards, as the criteria shift incessantly. This expression unveils a profounder issue. She desires emotional sway sans liability. She eschews vulnerability, preferring your culpability for telepathic failure. Regardless of your dedication, exertion, or investment, victory eludes in an opaque contest. Ultimately, you tread delicately to maintain harmony. You mute your perspective. You forfeit ease. You disrupt the organic rhythm essential for relational vitality. Gradually, authenticity fades. A woman who esteems you will converse openly. She will disclose requirements, not conceal them in reticence. She will not compel proofs of devotion via divination. So when she deploys, you should inherently know, discern the subtext, I seek authority sans responsibility. Disengage. For no robust existence flourishes with one demanding clairvoyance over candor. 3. All my former partners were poisonous, unstable, domineering. When a woman claims every prior liaison faltered due to the man's toxicity or madness, it may initially persuade. Her delivery, the fervor, the narratives, all evoke protectiveness, positioning you as the redeemer offering what predecessors denied. But hesitate, reflect. If every entanglement concluded with the male as culprit, that is no anomaly. It is a recurrence. Certainly, individuals occasionally pair with unsuitable mates. Yet when she catalogues exes as uniform antagonists, with herself perpetually blameless, grasp a vital insight, she is the constant. If she evades accountability, never admitting, I erred there, or I might have managed differently, then she lacks introspection. She embodies avoidance. A woman who portrays all past suitors as villains crafts a narrative of perpetual victimhood. And what ensues? At the slightest discord, even trivial, you morph into the subsequent antagonist. Your contributions, benevolence, forbearance, all irrelevant, for she habitually revises accounts, unhesitant to recast you. Herein lies the snare for men. She vilifies predecessors, prompting you to overcompensate avoidance of resemblance. You aspire to be exemplary, unprovocative, restorative of alleged voids. Yet those voids' authenticity remains unverified. For all intents, she may have instigated turmoil. She may have fueled theatrics. She may have provoked, manipulated, distorted, then attributed responses to others. Those who perpetually indict externally pose risks, for they ignore personal cycles. They stagnate. They introspect not. Ultimately, they perpetuate with successors. Do you aspire inclusion in her roster of the malign? That declaration, all my exes were deranged, indicates unhealed wounds, unlearned lessons, unexamined self. Withdraw ere you feature as her latest indictment chronicle. 4. I tire swiftly. This seems innocuous, endearing perhaps. You hear, I become disinterested readily, and assume she craves novelty or adventure. But that misinterprets profoundly. A woman prone to ennui signals that tranquility suffices not. Reliability suffices not. A serene, enduring, affectionate alliance. That suffices not. She requires perpetual affective arousal for vitality. Absent it, she fabricates. Disputes from ether. Aloofness for delayed responses. Envy sans rationale. Fluctuations inexplicable. Minor frictions escalating. You attribute to misfortune. To tension. To personal fault. Yet you confront one who necessitates disorder for sensation. She acclimates to volatility. To peaks and troughs. She conflates serenity with tedium. She confuses harmony with apathy. This is where men dissolve identity. You labor to sustain her engagement. You adapt agendas to whims. You manufacture thrill-fearing disaffection. But verity, you cannot match such demands. Her disinterest stems internally, not from you. And upon cessation of her amusement, she pursues alternatives. Not superior, merely novel. Novelty yields ephemeral euphoria. Such a woman fatigues profoundly. She satiates never. She perpetually demands escalation, in notice, tenderness, thrill, affirmation. Absent provision, she reframes, you altered, or disengaged, or ceased effort. Yet she overlooks internal origins. You cannot forge existence with chaos dependency. Your serenity, constancy, assurance, all forfeit. Thus, when she states, I bore easily, heat acutely. She alerts not to fun's necessity, but to viewing your equilibrium as deficiency. Disengage, for psychological well-being warrants no hazard. 5. If you truly cherished me, you would. This constitutes the gravest utterance a woman may proffer. Irrespective of composure in delivery. Irrespective of mild inflection. Upon invocation, dynamics shift irrevocably. If you truly cherished me, forsake your companions. If you truly cherished me, procure this. If you truly cherished me, comply. If you truly cherished me, prioritize me exclusively. This is not affection. It is coercive manipulation cloaked in tenderness. A woman employing this seeks not union, but dominion. She probes your pliability. She assesses if she can contort you into guilt-driven compliance over autonomy. Alarmingly, it ensnares virtuous men. Those of profound empathy. Those averse to inflicting pain. This evokes unwarranted remorse for normalcy. Remorse for personal requisites, associations, limits. It implies devotion mandates self-abnegation. Yet authentic affection demands no diminution. It demands no identity forfeiture. It binds not sentiment to compliance. Linking devotion to stipulations enables subsequent manipulation. If you cherish me, abstain from dissent. If you cherished me, remain. If you cherished me, concede. Soon, self-recognition fades. You affirm when inclination denies. You silence when voice beckons. You atone for non-offenses. You yield tranquility to avert displeasure. This tactic entraps, for efficacy prompts repetition. It becomes her primary instrument, her simplest armament, her method of cardiac governance under affection's guise. The stark verity, a woman who cherishes you weaponizes not sentiment. She demands no life relinquishment for proof. She compels no reductive choices. Affection issues no mandates. Affection erodes no core. Affection induces no compliance via shame. Thus, if she deploys this, even singularly, comprehend. She unveils her love as hegemony. Disengage. For one who militarizes affection today will shatter your essence tomorrow. Here is the essence, my friend. A worthy woman never prompts doubts of rationality, value, or standing. She imparts serenity, not turmoil, gentleness, not apprehension, lucidity, not effective snares. Should any of these 5 emerge, even once, eschew deliberation. Eschew rationalization. Permit not isolation to compel persistence. Departure is not evasion. Departure is dignity. Your equilibrium is invaluable. Safeguard it resolutely. If you seek a sequel delving profounder psychology and sterner warnings, comment, I require part 2, and I shall produce it. Engage with approval, share reflections below, and subscribe for further unfiltered insights that many evade articulating.